Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Guna and our show, The Shooting Lone Star, with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hey bro.
What's up, bro? How are you?
I'm
Hopefully
alright.
much better than a few days ago.
Yeah, I'm alright. Recovering. It's
Yeah,
still upsetting, annoyed about what a bad last week it's been for us.
yeah,
But what can we do? It is what it is. And now we're in a situation where we're all hoping for some sort of miracle and Norwich to beat Tottenham.
yeah,
It's highly unlikely, but yeah, when I saw you on last week's show, we were 4 points ahead. Really excited going into that Tottenham game. We messed that game up big time, losing it 3-0. And then we messed up against Newcastle big time again, losing that one 2-0. I
mm,
spoke to you after that game when we done our match reaction, and it was really hard just after the game, digesting what a poor performance it was.
yeah,
It was so lackluster. We expected a lot more. The Newcastle look like they're the ones that are playing for the Champions League, and we're the team that's in 14th in the table with nothing to play for. It's just awful. But credit to Newcastle, they did play very well, but we just couldn't handle them. So now, first thing I wanted to ask you is, having time to reflect on that game, look back on it and how we performed, what would you put that loss down to? For what, when looking back at the game, for what I could see, is that we really struggled to deal with their physicality, the physical presence of their players. They really overrun us in midfield. We struggled to deal with their press and stringing passes together. We just weren't able to get anything going throughout the game.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you nailed it right on the head. I think one big glaring flaw that we've seen with this team, and it was my fear, and I didn't really mention it, when we talked or mentioned it, around anybody I was talking about Arsenal with, but I was really afraid that we were gonna, well, what ended up happening was gonna happen, right? Like we never lose one game and then turn it around. We always lose in bunches, right? Like, you go back to even the start of the season, right? We lost the first three, and then we went on a good run. We lost a couple of games, United and Everton back to back, and then we went on another good run. January was a rough stretch, and then we recovered and went on a good run. And then we had those three matches. What was it? Palace, Southampton, and then I even forget the other one, but like three straight losses, and then we bounced back. And so I was kind of hoping we would turn it around quickly enough, but it doesn't seem like we're able to. And I think ultimately, I think that just turns out to be experience. You know, I hesitate to use it as an excuse, but it's a reason why. You know what I mean? Like you just can't escape the fact that we just don't have the experience. Our team is so young that we just don't have that veteran presence. I mean, you can say all you want about Lacazette. He's been a great professional. Granit Xhaka as well. But those are really the only ones, like the older, the older guys, and El Neni as well, maybe. But like, I feel like hopefully this is something we do in the transfer market. This is kind of looking ahead and kind of jumping ahead, but like maybe we bring in a couple of squad players who are older than the age profile we're aiming for lately, that can be that sort of veteran presence that have been there before, so that when we lose a game, we're not taking a couple games to recover from it, but we're turning it right around and saying like, hey, this, we need to fix it because we got a game in 3 days or we got a game in 5 days. So I feel like that was just the main factor, because it just looked like we weren't ready to keep up with the intensity that Newcastle had, man, and it just looked like grown men going against a bunch of kids. Kind of like I go back to the Nottingham Forest game in the FA Cup, the first round that we played. Sure, they're a championship side, but you looked at the age profile of that whole team, and they were all like older than our guys. So ultimately, like, it's just like literally men versus boys. Now, granted, I mean, we still got adults on our team, right? It's not like they're 17, 18 years old, but 21, 22, versus 25, 26-year-olds. Like, at some point the muscle just kind of overpowers, and I feel like that's what happened with Newcastle United. I don't think they were that much more talented than we were. Um, I think our best starting 11 is better than their best starting 11. And then that's another thing too. We just didn't have our best starting 11. We have all these injuries that are piling up. We're not playing with our best players out there. It was just that. I'm not really putting this on like Arteta, like specifically this game. Maybe we can look at like the January decision to not bring anybody in, like that obviously factors in as well too. But I think if we just look at what happened on the field, I think our players are A, just running out of juice, and B, like they just they're learning, man. And this is like the shitty part of growing pains, is the pain part. So yeah, I think that's what happened. And it sucks to see because we were right there. Still have a chance, but for all intents and purposes, we've lost our opportunity, and it sucks.
Yeah, definitely the lack of experience. You can
Yeah,
say that's really cost us. We talk about we have a young team, but also, okay, it's great saying we have a young team, and we expect a lot of improvement over the years, but it's about having that balance as well, where you do need some experienced players in there. As you said, the ones we have not really been that good for quite a while now. We're talking about the likes, as you said, Granit Xhaka. He's very inconsistent. He can have a great game, but then he can have a couple of bad games in a row. He's not a very consistent player. We see like he can be so good in the European Championships. Saw him playing for Switzerland, and some of the
yeah,
he was putting in there. That's one against France, played so well. And we've seen it with us down the years that he can be a very good player on his day, but he's just not consistent enough. Rob Holding's another one, and he really cost us against Tottenham. El Neni
yeah.
again, you know, inconsistent. So the experienced players that we do have, they're not very consistent. So that doesn't help the situation. Then the January transfer window was an opportunity to get something done, strengthen the squad, bring some experience in. Even if we couldn't sign a player, maybe look to get something done on loan. We saw Tottenham got a couple of signings on loan that's really helped them. So you can look at that as a big mistake as well. Whose decision that was, I really don't think it was down to Arteta. I was listening to some of the comments he made as well, but we did what we could within our means and what we were allowed to do. So that
Hmm.
tells me that it's coming from the board with the owners that they didn't really want to spend too much money in January or even look to spend money out on loans. They're just looking to cut the wage bill and get players out and focus on the summer. But we had such a good opportunity because in January we could see we're in a really good position. We knew that we had no European football, and it was a great chance for us to secure the top four.
You know, I think, yeah, we certainly let an opportunity slip to kind of strengthen the team, and ultimately we're paying for it now. Um, and I think this goes into my theory or my belief that this team, this year's team, actually, overachieved a little bit and maybe performed ahead of schedule in terms of like where we were supposed to be in the table and progressing. And so I feel like maybe they just decided to stick to their gun and say like, hey, this isn't like, sure, we're going to be battling for top four in Champions League at this point, but we're not going to deviate from the plan we already set to cut the wage bill and then prepare for the future for hopefully the summer, right? To kind of big spend. And that's what it seems like it's looking like. I just read a report the other day. I don't know how true it is, but that they are going to be looking to spend some big money and bring in some people. And I don't know if you've checked it out, but we actually have agreed to terms with like two players already. Um, so like there is some movement in that front to get like some squad players, and then also hopefully we start seeing some names with the forward position and all that. But yeah, and I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but yeah, to answer your question, I feel like our team was overachieving, and maybe the board did not adjust their plan match that overachieving. So they said, look, yeah, that's great. You're going for top four in Champions League, but we're going to still stick with the plan that we had at the beginning of the year. And potentially at the beginning of the year, I mean, if you ask a lot of fans, I don't know what like the pundits predicted, but fifth or sixth place for me at least was like, oh, that'd be awesome, right? If we can at least get back into Europe, a Europe competition, that would be cool. And I had no idea that we were going to have this good of a season to where we were going to be battling for Champions League up until the last week, essentially. Like we're still mathematically in it. So yeah, I just think, yeah, in that January transfer window, I'm gonna have to, yeah, I would look at the board and the people in charge, the people writing the checks and saying like, man, why did you not, like, we had the opportunity, and I think maybe now we could have brought somebody in. I don't think the Aubameyang situation, like I know a lot of people are going to bring that up, and how a lot of people were bringing that up at the pub. There was a couple of who I suspected they weren't Arsenal fans. I'm like, this guy's got to be a Spurs fan, because he kept bringing up like Spurs are better, yada yada yada, this and this, and he kept bringing up Aubameyang. I was like, bro, he's gone. Like, we let him go, and he wasn't doing it for us for a long time. Yeah, sure, he was our marquee signing. He's our goal scorer, but he was not scoring goals. And then on top of that, he wasn't, performing his duties as a captain. So like, why bring him up anymore? I mean, I'm bringing him up because like the guy brought him up, but I was like, yeah, like he's done. Like, sure, he's scoring goals for Barcelona, but like that's what he always does. So it's like we can't look at his goals and look at like we missed those 11 goals that he scored. Like, nah, like he wasn't doing shit when he was there, like the last 6 months or whatever. So um yeah, I don't think that part should be considered like a flaw. Like, I think that was a big move, and in large part, I think it paid off a little bit. I think like our team was like much more closer when that after that happened. But I think where we did fail is not bringing in some people to cover for the potential and eventual injuries that we ended up having. Right, so we're just putting together people. I mean, if you look at our bench, for the game against Newcastle, I mean, look at who we had. So we brought on Cedric, Gabriel, Alexander, Lacazette, Nicolas Pepe. But on the bench, we had Sambi, Lokonga, and Bernd Leno, like our senior guys. And then we had Charlie Patino, Zach Swanson, and Salah Ulat. I don't know. I'm already butchering his name, but he has a long name. But 18-year-old kids. So we had 3 kids who were like 18 years old on the bench. Like, that sucks, you know? And the good teams, the teams that are like battling to the end, even like Spurs, I mean, they have a deeper bench. And I think ultimately the January window, we failed at, we can just look at our bench and be like, I mean, the guy, Charlie has 87, Salah has 65, Zach Swanson has number 69. So like, and we're just pulling people off from like somewhere from our academy just to fill up the bench, and like that sucks, So yeah, I think our biggest failure is just not bringing in some squad depth on loan or whatever.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like it's really cost us a lot. But then, if we're saying that the aim target was top 6, when we've achieved that, I know you're saying when you looked at the start of the season, that would have been a good result, but having been this close and right in pole position up until just a week ago, most of the last few months, we've been in pole position. We've had quite a big lead at various points. We knew it was games in hand as well that we had, even when we were not in pole position. So we were looking to be very close. And as you say, we're taking it right down to the last weekend of the season. Would you now, if we don't get Champions League, which is obviously looking very likely, consider it still a good season and a success?
I would. I think so. I think there's a difference between like being disappointed and then failing. And I don't think we failed. I think we progressed, right? Last couple seasons, finishing 8th sucks. We've fallen out of Europe. And we've gotten back into Europe now. So I think in that aspect, it's a success. Like we've followed, I guess we've stuck to the plan and we've seen some improvements. But surely it is disappointing, right? Like, I mean, you obviously there's some aspect where you adjust your expectations based on what's happening. And, after those first 3 games and the way we turned it around, and it was amazing to see. And, taking Man United or Man City to like the end and surely ended up losing. And then also, yeah, being in pole position for such a long time, and then now seeing us that we've essentially bottled it, right? Like there's no other way to put it. Like we blew it. So certainly it's disappointing. But I think at the same time, I'm not big on saying like, black and white. Like I think there's a lot of gray area, and I think if we look at like in terms of success and defining a successful season, I think we have been successful, but I don't think we were as successful as we could have been, and that's what's going to kind of leave a bad taste in our mouth. Like, I was hoping in the summer to rewatch like the Wolves game where we won 2-1 after being down for such a long time, and seeing like, wow, that was the turning point. And instead, that's going to be like, damn, that was a great moment, but ultimately, like we didn't capitalize on that. And the commentator for that game was like, a goal worth millions, referencing like putting us in top 4, putting us in a good position. Champions League being that much more $1 million worth it, worth. Ultimately, it's not what it ended up being, right? So yeah, there is a sense of failure in that aspect, but I think when you look at it as a whole, and then where we fell off, like it was almost like that first season of Arteta's had to like stop the train from derailing, like when he took over Unai Emery's position, like stop that train from derailing, and then almost hit the reset button, and then that was ugly for a little bit, and then we ultimately finished 8th, and then this time we're like finally starting to see us going from first, and then just kind of turning the reversing that momentum, and then taking it into the right direction. So yes, disappointing, but I ultimately feel like we're headed in the right direction.
Okay, so it is really difficult for us at the moment. Really sad time, but there's this one game left now, final weekend of the season. Mathematically, there is still a chance. I asked you this when we done our match reaction. Do you think there's any hope that Norwich can beat Tottenham? And as you said, and nearly everyone is thinking, it's so unlikely. But it is football, it's sports. We see upsets all the time. We've got to hope somehow that Norwich can do us the biggest favour. Somehow they just find a performance that's just not been there. They're bottom of the league, relegated, been awful all season, but somehow they can pick themselves up. It's a home game. Maybe they want to go out of the Premier League with a bang, and the players are just really up for it. Tottenham have a real bad day. I remember my last season at Highbury, so it was going to the last game where they could have got Champions League if they beat West Ham, but they could only get a draw. We won our game at home against Wigan, and then we qualified for Champions League. There's always stuff as well that some Tottenham players were out because they had a dodgy lasagna, and that affected some of their squad. So they had players missing, and they only got the draw against West Ham, which allowed us to get into top 4 by winning our last game. So maybe something like that could happen again. They have some dodgy food or some injuries. Song and Kane are out for some reason. That would definitely weaken them, but it's highly unlikely, I know. But let's talk about this weekend, man. So what's your thoughts on, first of all, let's talk about our game, because if Tottenham lost that game and when we didn't beat Everton, it would be devastating for that to happen. So we've got to take care of our business. We've got to beat Everton. We don't know what Everton's situation is going to be. And we know they're playing tomorrow night. They could be safe by the time they play us, but let's look at it as if, they are still fighting for relegation. So it's going to be a difficult game. Even if they're not fighting for relegation, I'm sure they're going to want to play well last game of the season. So either way, it's not going to be easy, especially the form that we're in now. Our confidence is low. We saw the morale of the players sitting on the floor after that game, going off the pitch, looked really disheartened completely. And
Yeah.
like we're still disheartened. I'm sure they're disheartened going into that game. It's going to be very hard for them to pick themselves back up. What's your thoughts on the Everton game?
I think, and I think I want to tie in a little bit of the thoughts about like Granit Xhaka's post game comments real quick, where he kind of called everybody out and just said, like, essentially, if you're not mentally ready, like, you shouldn't be on the pitch or whatever. Like, for whatever it's worth, like, I think it's very difficult to interview a player right after the game. Like, you're going to get the rawest emotions. So, like, I felt like that was kind of unfair for him or for any athlete, right? Interviewing him right after a game, especially after a tough loss, you're going to get some unfiltered responses. And I think also that probably would have been something that they talk about in the dressing room. But I'm kind of hoping that that lights some kind of fire in a lot of the players going into this last game, essentially with nothing to play for. Granted, yeah, I'm kind of gonna go with the approach that, with the assumption that it's going to be very highly unlikely that Tottenham loses against Norwich. So, and there's nothing our players can do to, you know, control that. The only thing our players can control is their play and their game against Everton. And so I kind of want to see the players respond positively to Xhaka's comments, like playing that one game for pride, right? Like, you're a professional footballer. Let's finish the season off right. Who cares if there's nothing to play for? There's your pride to play for. For the players that might end up leaving, there's your contracts to play for. There is sort of a lot to play for, if not for a spot in Champions League. Like, so I think I'm hoping against hope that we come off our schneid and just kind of ride the train and finish and play well against Everton. And I think we will. Again, a lot of times when we lose games, it's 2 at a time or 3 at a time. So hopefully we're in that sweet spot where we can just turn it around and finish the season off properly. And then whatever happens with Tottenham and Norwich, it happens. All the games are going on at the same time, so we can't really like scoreboard watch, or at least the players can't. But hopefully they play with this fire that, hey, you know what, we'll take care of our business. They had the opportunity to do it for 2 weeks and then couldn't do it. So now maybe with the pressure off, they could just play their game, have fun, and get a positive result. And then moving forward, we'll see what happens, right? Hopefully, as you say, I mean, there's a biggest cliche in sports is, that's why they play the game, right? Games aren't won on paper. And on paper, I don't think Norwich has a chance. But as I said, with our guys, they're professional footballers. So are Norwich. And they're going to have pride on the line. They've got a lot of players who are going to want to look good for their next team or for Norwich. And hopefully, maybe they're hoping to stick with them. So yeah, and then obviously there's going to be some players who booked it and are ready to kind of go to the beach already. So who knows what happens? Maybe especially with Tottenham, you never know. Like, some of those players none of those players have that championship pedigree, so they could bottle it as well, and that would be sweet if we can see like a 1-0 loss by Tottenham and a 1-0 win for us. I mean, hopefully it's a little bit more comfortable than that. Hopefully we come out the gates and just kind of finish strong in front of the home fans and give the fans something to cheer for and something to be proud of. So yeah, I'm hoping against hope. I'm gonna be watching on Sunday at the pub with the boys and hoping that we pull off our victory and then some kind of miracle happens where where Norwich pulls out the victory. Although I will say that I'm pretty confident that our boys will step up and play well, but I'm not confident in Norwich pulling off the upset. I will be watching and hoping that something good happens because you never know. And I don't know. Hopefully, like the fire alarms in the team hotel wherever Spurs are staying, like keep going off and they can't get enough sleep or something like that, and they just have a bad day or somebody gets sick and hopefully they recover easily, but they're sick just for the game or whatever. I don't know. Who knows what happens? But I kind of want something crazy to happen, and that'd be cool. Because yeah, we're still mathematically alive, but I'm gonna be watching and I want to see our boys just play well, play well like they know how to play, and go out with a positive note. That's always a good thing to go out on, and end the season positively, so that you can go off, take off some time off of football, and then get ready for next season. But yeah, man, it's obviously a disappointing way to end the season, but I think the future is bright, and we can start by playing well against Everton, which I think we will. We'll see, because I think what Granit Xhaka did was probably more so like dressing room stuff, but you can't fault him for being as emotional as he was. I think he was heartbroken. Everybody's heartbroken, and they just caught him at a bad time. And I don't think he was calling everybody else out and leaving himself like not like kind of washing his hands of those sins. Like I think he was including himself into that as well. Um, so I get people who are like, man, too much Xhaka, but I think I'm on the camp that was like, good. Like I kind of want to see that. Like I kind of want to see somebody light a fire in the young players' asses and just kind of like, hey man, we got to grow from this and we got to do better. Like we sucked, and somebody had to say it. Um, so that's what it is, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see where our players respond, right?
Yeah, in terms of upsets may happen. Let's just saw it a couple of days back in the NBA as well. Last year's finalists, both of them got beat.
In the same day, yeah.
Yeah, in the same day and quite comfortably, Celtics beat the Bucks and the Mavericks beat the Suns. And both were like quite comfortable victories. I was watching thinking, what's going on? So let's hope we're seeing something similar on Sunday. It'll be a bigger shock, obviously, for Norwich to beat Tottenham and then two shocks. They were shocks, but the two teams that did beat them are good teams. Celtics and Mavericks are good teams. So, yeah, let's hope Norwich can do us that huge favour. So I'm going to ask you your correct score predictions now for both matches. First, our match against Everton and then Norwich and Tottenham.
So Everton, I think earlier I mentioned like 2-0, but I think it'll be a lot closer. I think Everton's going to play lights out, especially if they're trying to fight for relegation. We still got to wait for, that result on Thursday. But yeah, so assuming that it's going to be one of those tight-knit games where somebody's going to be fighting for something serious, I think it's going to be close. I think we end up pulling out, a 2-1 victory. That's what I'm hoping for. And then Norwich, I don't know which way to go. Like I can go with my brain and say, "Oh, Tottenham's going to win," but I'm hoping for a Norwich, say like 3-2 or something crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna say 1-0 Norwich. I think if anything, that's how they're gonna have to win. I don't think they can win in a shootout. They haven't scored a goal in a month. So it's going to be one of those tight knit games where hopefully they play like a 5-4 defense and just kind of don't let anything happen, and then just get lucky. And Timo Pukki, goes out and just destroys Tottenham's whole season in one counterattack. We'll say 1-0 Norwich. How about that?
That would be amazing. It really
Yeah,
would
like right. It'd be so
be
awesome.
amazing. I hope your predictions come true. I really do.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing. But another thing to just finish, we're going to talk about is a title race. So that's gone down to the last weekend as well. Everyone's thinking that's a foregone conclusion as well, that Man City are going to win. But as we said, with the situation for us, it's football. Anything can happen in all sports. Upsets happen all the time. And Villa could go there and play amazing and beat Man City. And then if Liverpool to beat Wolves, they'll be champions. So still all to play for in that one. What's your predictions for them two games?
Well, Liverpool look hotter right now. I think they came back and won a game against Southampton yesterday.
After resting 9 players as well. So that
Yeah.
shows you the squad. When we talk about squads, you know, you look at the situation we have, you're just saying about our bench. If we were to make 9 changes, that would severely weaken us.
Yeah. There's no way we could afford making 9 changes.
Yeah, we couldn't do that. So it just shows you the strength in their squad that they can make them 9 changes, still go away from home. Difficult game. We know Southampton. We felt it ourselves just a couple of, about a month back it was when we lost to them.
Yeah.
So not an easy place to go to, and they've gone there and got the win. So really, we're miles off having a squad like that, and we've got a lot of work to do. But yeah, sorry to cut into that.
No. Yeah, I think ultimately it's going to be close, but I think City is going to pull it off, only because they just have like this killer instinct that I just hate. And even though Liverpool's the hotter team, I think City's going to just end it mercilessly. It's going to be, I don't think it's even going to be dramatic. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be just like, yeah, they'll put it away easily. I don't know why I feel that way. I just kind of, that's how I feel. Pep is just a mastermind. I mean, I know he gets slack for sucking when it matters the most in Champions League, but I feel like it's going to be, they're just going to close it, and it's not going to be dramatic at all. Which I hope it'd be cool if I'm wrong, but I just have this feeling like City's just going to end the drama right away with an early goal, and then maybe Villa makes it a game, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be in doubt. I hate saying that, but yeah, I also kind of don't want Liverpool to win a quadruple. Like that would suck. I mean, I have a couple of friends who are Liverpool fans, and they would just be insufferable if that happens. Like they've already won trophies, man. Like whatever, and we don't need them. And then they got the Champions League final in a couple of weeks. So no, man, I don't want Liverpool fans to be happy. I also don't want Man City fans to be happy too. But whatever. Somebody's got to win the title, right? So I guess if I had to pick, it would be Man City. As much as I hate saying that, and I ultimately, again, I think they're robots to me, and they're just gonna end the drama right away.
Okay, what's your correct score predictions for them two games?
I think it'll be like City 2-0, and I think Liverpool's gonna come out the gates firing too, right? They're gonna want to win, so I think both of them will end up with something like 2-0. Like I don't think it'll be close for either game, but as it's like those results don't change the standings at all. So yeah, 2-0 both squads, excuse me.
Okay. So yeah, I was really hoping that we'll be looking forward to this weekend, celebrating the fact we made Champions League. But it's just so deflating now going into that Everton game. Got to try and retain some hope and some positivity going into a game. As you said, playing for pride, playing to go out on a high for the end of the season, and excited to see what we can do in the summer transfer window and what we can do next season. But there's only 1%, whatever you can say, 5%, whatever, but there's that glimmer of hope. So let's end it with something positive and say, come on, Norwich.
Come on, Norwich, man. Like, what are they called? What are they called? The
Canaries.
Canaries? I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
big Canary fan on Saturday, bro. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I want to see it happen. Like, it's so cool to see it happen. They got
Oh,
cool. They got cool shirts. Like, hopefully their fans show up. It's in Norwich, so whatever their fans are called, like, you know, up the Canaries, man. Show up, be loud, and let's get an upset just for the sake of it. Just do us a favor. We'll let you guys win when you guys are back in the Premier League. We'll let you draw something like next year or 2 years from now. Like, come on, like go out with a bang. You know, destroy somebody's season while you get relegated. So whatever, just make it happen.
let's hope so, bro. So that's all from us, thanks.
Yeah, man. Let's do this, bro.
Hopefully I'll see you on next week's show and the miracles happened and we're super happy. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's all from us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.